Silicon Valley is a part of California that's known to be home to multiple tech companies, so it only makes sense that Google would set up their headquarters there. Their headquarters, also known as the Googleplex, spans over 12 acres of land in Mountain View, California. That's over 2 million square feet of office space. But you won't believe this, it's actually not the largest Google building. No. Although it's considered to be their main headquarters, the Googleplex comes second in size when compared to Google's New York building at 111 8th Avenue, New York City. Are you wondering why it's called the Googleplex? Well, it's a combination of the words Google and complex. Seeing as the headquarters consist of building complexes, it only makes sense to add it to the name. But that's not all. It's also made to reference the number Googleplex, which is the highest number known to man. Just as a nod to the absolute heights Google is willing to reach with their company. Now that the fun facts are out of the way, let's get into what really makes these headquarters special. And trust us, you won't want to miss this. The Googleplex was opened in July of 2004 and wasn't always owned by Google. That's right, the office space was originally home to Silicon Graphics before Google came in and took over. And ever since then, they've made this space their home. Like most modern tech offices, Google has decided to take a more non-traditional approach to its workspaces. In fact, the inside of the Googleplex seems to look more like a hangout spot rather than a workplace to the average civilian. When you first step inside the lobby, you'll see a live projection of active Google search queries happening right this very moment. Who knows, maybe something you've Googled has been broadcast at the office for all the workers to see. Kind of cool. But not as cool as what we're about to tell you next. One may expect to see dinosaur fossils at a museum, not the headquarters of a major tech company. But that didn't stop Google. On this campus, there's a skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is often adorned with lawn flamingos for the workers to look at. Why exactly? Well, Google put it in place to remind its workers to always stay relevant and not end up like the dinosaurs. Pretty interesting way to portray a message. Speaking to the employees, it's safe to say that Google treats them pretty well. When it's time for their lunch break, they're given the option to choose from over 18 cafeterias, all with unique and special food options. This is done not only to keep employees happy with their place of work, but to make sure Google offers food options for all diets and lifestyles. Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or kosher, you can find something to eat without any hassle. Not a lot of companies go out of their way to do something like that for their employees, which is another reason why Google is so special. But this next fact we're about to tell you may be even more incredible than this one. As you've probably already guessed, the atmosphere at the Googleplex is fairly laid back, and definitely not your typical stuffy type of office. But did you know that among the facilities offered to employees at the Googleplex, there are fitness classes, laundry rooms, and even a swimming pool? Obviously, most companies want to keep the morale around the office fairly high, but this is definitely taking it to the next level. Not only does Google want their employees to be happy, they want to make sure they can stay healthy and not have to sacrifice their fitness regimes because of their heavy workloads. Being able to go from your desk to the gym and not even have to leave the building is definitely a major perk for their employees. And if the gym just isn't your thing, have no fear. There's also several volleyball courts available to use, so you can stay fit by playing a quick game with your co-workers before heading back to work. And to take Google's health-conscious approach up a notch even further, there's an on-site doctor ready and available to see any employees in case of a health concern. In theory, one could quite literally live inside the Googleplex and never have to step outside again. Needless to say, that's very impressive. So, do you think that you may want to visit the Googleplex one day if you ever find yourself in California? Well, there is some bad news. Unfortunately, Google doesn't offer tours, and if you want to check out the campus, you'll have to be escorted by a Google employee. But for those lucky enough to have an in with the company, there's some pretty cool features for visitors too. You don't even have to work there to get some of these perks. For example, because the campus is so big, Google offers free G-bikes for one to ride around in, so they can get from point A to point B in a timely manner. Okay, so you get the G-bike and are riding around the campus. Now what do you do? Well, if you're a fan of Instagram, you can check out one of their most grammable features, which is the Android statues. Anyone with an Android phone is familiar with the company's green robotic mascot. Well, you can find statues of him all over the campus and set up so you can take some awesome pictures with it. They all have different names too, each named after a specific sweet or dessert. There's cupcake, donut, ice cream sandwich, Kit Kat, gingerbread, and even honeycomb. What do you do after that? Well, if you're a fan of retail therapy, you better stay tuned for this. You're going to love it. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any upcoming tours such as Apple Park, Meta headquarters, and many more. If you haven't seen our last video on the Amazon headquarters, be sure to check it out. Once you've finished taking pictures with all the Android statues, you can make your way to the on-campus retail store where you can purchase a variety of Google-related products. Well, that is if it didn't close in 2018, but don't you worry. The store is still up and running just online. So to commemorate your awesome visit to the Googleplex, you can go to their online store and purchase something. When you're ready to unwind after a day of online shopping and taking pictures, you can relax in the Apple Park. Apple Park is a park on the Google campus that's open to visitors and even has a cafe, so you can grab a bite to eat before heading home for the day. How many tech companies can you say would offer something like that to their visitors? Do you think you'd like to work at the Googleplex? Let us know in the comment section below. While you do that, you should definitely keep watching because the next part of this video is something you really don't want to miss. Did you know that the Googleplex isn't the only California-based Google campus? Nope. In 2022, Google opened their Bayview campus, and it's really quite a spectacle to behold. It took 5 years to complete the construction of this building and cost the company over $9.5 billion to complete. Of course, for Google, that's nothing more than pocket change. Let's see what this building has to offer, shall we? First things first, if you're in the vicinity of the Bayview campus, you will absolutely not miss it. Its architecture is so unique. We're sure you may not have seen anything like it before. It's modeled to look like a giant tent, draping over the chic glass windows. Leave it to Google to not only be innovative in their products, but in their architecture as well. But the tent-like design isn't just for show. No, the roof is made of panels that help the building run on sustainable, carbon-free energy. It also takes up over 1.1 million square feet or 20 acres of land and consists of 2 main office buildings. It's obvious that Google is a pretty caring company, not just for their employees, but for the world around them as well. That's why so much that is in the Bayview campus is dedicated to the betterment of our environment. How exactly? Just because one may not be working at the Googleplex campus doesn't mean they won't be treated to the many amenities Google offers. That's why the employees of the Bayview campus are given the opportunity to eat from 7 different cafes daily. But what about this fact makes it environmentally conscious? All the kitchens run off electric equipment, nothing is powered by gas. This way, the employees can still be fed, but not by emitting any carbon dioxide into the air. Talk about a win-win situation. You may be wondering, how can a company that claims to be so environmentally conscious create such a large building? Wouldn't that have an effect on the local ecosystem? Google took this into mind when creating the Bayview campus. That's why there are over 17 acres of untouched natural areas on the campus. This is done to help preserve the environment surrounding the building and rehabilitate the area. These natural areas include wetlands, marshes, and woodlands. So even though a large building was built, the local flora and fauna can still thrive unbothered. It's no surprise that Google took this fact into consideration when creating the Bayview campus, seeing how thorough they are with every move they make. Some of the ponds that you may see across the campus aren't just for show. They're actually water retention ponds that collect water for reuse. And this also protects against the sea level rising, which could cause potential damage to the building and the surrounding areas. So you see, the outside is carefully crafted, but what about the inside? What is the day-to-day like for the workers at Google's Bayview campus? Well, every desk is given an outdoor view that gives the worker plenty of natural light from the sun. Why? This helps combat mental health issues that can arise from sitting in dimly lit office spaces for hours on end. As we've discussed already in this video, Google cares immensely about their employees' well-beings, and that doesn't just mean physical health. They've also given 100% natural air from the outside as opposed to your typical ventilation systems found in many office spaces. These ventilation systems can cause flare-ups for those with allergies or other sinus and throat conditions. So Google made sure to get rid of them completely and opt for a healthier oxygen source. The layout of the workspaces is less of a cubicle situation and treated more like a neighborhood, with departments being separated by courtyards and bridges. It helps create an environment that doesn't feel as confined and miserable, which of course in turn helps promote productivity and better the teamwork of everyone there. They feel more like friends and family rather than simply work acquaintances. There's also trails and bike paths employees can take if they ever feel they need to get out of the office and get some fresh air, which must feel incredible if you spend most of your time staring at a screen. And that's about it for Google's headquarters. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe so you don't miss out on the tour of Apple Park next. We'll see you next time.